Hey guys,
Welcome to another Throwback Thursday Patreon request from this Patrono right here. Ask us check out, for the first time ever on this channel, Morbid Angel from the album Altars of Madness, an iconic record. I remember this album very vividly. A friend of mine bought it on he was a big Cannibal Corpse, Obituary, Death. Like, he was more into the more extreme side of metal at the time. I was more of a Manowar guy at the time.
Oh, okay.
So I remember him coming to school with this, and I'm like, ew, I'm not sure if I'm ready for this jelly, because that's not what I was into at that time. I was really into the whole classic heavy metal, power metal stuff, and then obviously thrash. But this, I was like, I'm not sure if this is for me. He's like, no, you gotta fucking listen to this. It's fucking great. I was like, fuck, all right, I'll listen to it. So anyhow, so that's how I discovered Morbid Angel. The name of the song is Immortal Rites, and if you guys want to catch some Morbid Angel, the best next thing is I Am Morbid. They were touring in Europe with my good friend Bill Hudson. He's the guitar player for the band. So, but I think they're going to have a North American tour at some point this year. So check their socials. And like I said, if you're a fan of Morbid Angel, I Am Morbid is the next best thing. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Some Morbid Angel? All right, let's fucking go. Now this is all on you because I don't think you've ever heard Morbid Angel.
I haven't. Yeah.
All right, so let's go.
Death might summon you, as I look in our brains. Got your spell on our right, that's the big receive. Gift of immortality, bestowed on those who seek you. Now immortal.
Well, you know what this reminds me of? Of a bunch of long-haired dudes in my room, head banging like they're trying to suck their own dick, and me with no hair just sitting there like, I could really go for some Manowar right about now. Because I remember when I was introduced to this, I there was a section of my friends that were into the like the most extreme the better, as far as metal was concerned. Like it had to be like extreme metal. Like when I mean extreme, I mean like death metal, you know,
Core
like
grind.
yeah, like crazy shit, like grindcore, death metal, even black metal, you know, extreme black metal, like all of that stuff. That's what they were into. So they were listening to a lot of the bands that I was trying to stay away from because that was not my cup of tea at the time. Because like I said, I was more into classic heavy metal, I was more into power metal, and then obviously thrash, like, and even groove bands like Machine Head and Pantera and that kind of stuff. So anything that kind of crossed the boundaries of one into the other, I was never really at the time I was never really super comfortable with. But the guys would come over to my house because I was one of the few people in this small town that we live in that had a stereo system with a CD player. Actually, mine had like 5 discs. You could put 5 discs in and then choose which disc you want to would rotate, right? And a double deck, so I could make, you know, tapes for everybody. So normally, because we didn't have a lot of money, like we would buy, you know, you would buy an album, I would buy an album, this guy would buy an album, then everybody would meet up at my house after school, and we would make copies of the albums that we bought throughout the week for each other. So it was a nice way for us to get like 4 or 5 records for the price of one. So that's kind of how it went, right? So, and it's not like you can record, like it's not like MP3s. You actually have to listen to the whole album and record it as you're listening to. So it's not like you can fast forward, or it's not like now, right? It's different. So I would have to press play on the CD, press record at the same time, and make sure I don't run out of tape on that one side, then flip it over and then press to record the second side. So if I was recording this album for 5 people, I mean, that means I have to listen to this album 5 times, right? So that's kind of how it was. That's how how I discovered Sepultura, because a friend of mine had Arise and Beneath the Remains. Arise on one side, Beneath the Remains on the other. And everybody wanted it. So at the beginning of the week, I was like, fuck, this is noise. Like, I didn't like it at all. I was like, how do you guys like this? This is absolute pure shit.
But after listening to it for so long...
Dude, that week I think I listened to both albums over 20 times. Because all I did for Monday to Friday was record those 2 albums for other people on tapes. And like I said, you have to press play and record, so you got to listen to both albums. And when the guy's coming over, guess what? We're recording and we're chilling, and the music is playing in the background. You know, and it's not like the volume is low either. We had the volume pretty high, right? By the end of the week, I was like, fuck, this Sepultura shit is amazing. Like, I was all into it. It took me a week of being brainwashed, of listening to it the whole time. So listening to this kind of reminds me of how sometimes we were, you know, you're pinned to submission. You listen to a song once and or an album once, and you're like, this is not really my cup of tea. And then you listen to it repeatedly because you have no choice. You're like, I was making copies. You have no choice. By the end of the week, you're like, you know what? Fuck, that riff was actually pretty good. This is pretty good. And that's kind of how, at least me personally, that's how my taste in music started to get broader and broader, because I was central station. Everybody was coming.
Dealer.
Yeah, everybody was coming to me. So I was forced to listen to all of this stuff, and because of that, I was forced to be exposed to a lot of different genres, a lot of different bands, and it kind of allowed me to have a much wider taste in music. If I wasn't doing that and I was just in my little room listening to my own little shit, my taste in music would have stayed very narrow to just one style, one genre, and always be closed-minded towards other genres. Because, once again, if you listen to just one song of a genre you don't like, and you're like, and you completely dismiss the band, the genre, everything through it, you're closing the door probably to some stuff that you would like otherwise.
When you're forced to listen to it like 20 times.
After a while, you start to like it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, when something is... Listen, it's sometimes, you know, you meet... like
something is truly bad when you listen to it multiple times and you don't
I'll give you a perfect example. Sometimes you meet a chick, and she's so ugly that she's hot. Has that ever happened to you?
What?
Has happened to me. Maybe there was alcohol involved, but
Most likely.
but let me just say, sometimes you see a chick and she's so fucking ugly that makes her hot. I'm just putting it out there. I don't think I'm alone. I think we've all done it. I think we're all guilty of it at some point in time in our lives. We've done it. So, anyways, I want to leave it as that.
Whatever.
It never happened to you?
What, did I seen someone and I'm like, God, you're so ugly that...
You're actually hot.
No.
Okay.
No, because when someone's very ugly...
You know what that tells me?
What?
You don't drink. That's what that tells me. Alcohol...
Oh, I don't drink around ugly people. That's what it is.
That's true. Or maybe you just have good-looking friends. So, whatever. Whatever floats your boat. Anyhow, what do you think about Morbid Angel? This is your first time ever listening to it. Not your cup of tea.
I'm you in the room. Instead of me saying...
But you're not asking for metal or...
fuck.
That's between... That's drowning or burning alive. Which one do you want?
Yeah, I know. Each one of them is pretty bad.
Okay. So, not your cup of tea.
Not my cup of tea, man.
There's no redeeming qualities? I mean, this album is an absolute classic.
This is one of those ones where, like, if you played this for me 20 times, the entire album, by the end of the week, I'd be on the suicide watch list. Because I don't think this is one of those...
It wouldn't grow on you.
It's not the growing on you type of thing.
No, and there's not a fungus for you.
No.
Listen, once again, not everything is for everybody. But when it comes to bands that really trailblaze this sound, this experience, these guys were ahead of the game. The same way I feel like Death was one of the bands that really trailblazed the death metal, but they also had like a lot of progressive elements into their sound. This is another band that really, in my opinion, kind of sets itself apart from all the bands of that genre in that era. It's just that, once again, not everything is for everybody.
Exactly.
It is what it is. For me, I'll be 100% honest. The reason I like it and I like this album is because of the sentimental value that it has to me. More than anything else is the sentimental value. Because when I saw this cover and I'm listening to this song, I can see myself in the room with a friend of mine. His nickname was Turtle. He was a bodyboarder. He actually watches our videos. He lives in Australia now. So shout out to Claudio. His name is Claudio. I remember he was the guy that introduced me to this band. He's the guy that introduced me to Death. He's the guy that introduced me to Cannibal Corpse. Because he was into that kind of shit. At the time. It's like, if it doesn't make you want to kill somebody, I don't want to listen to it.
Oh.
That was kind of like... Okay. I'm not saying that was his motto, but he was one of the guys that really pushed a lot of the more extreme side of metal, at least into my lap. You know what I mean? Because most of my friends were more into thrash, classic heavy metal, and he was one of the guys that abandoned that sound early on. That's where he started, but he abandoned it early on, and he was always looking for the most extreme shit possible. So shout out to him. He watches our videos all the way from Australia. So
nice.
Yeah, sometimes we cross paths when we go to Portugal. He's there visiting. We were there, so I saw him there. I don't know, like fucking 10 years ago or something like that. Well, before the pandemic, so I can't remember the last time, but I saw him there. But we keep in touch on Facebook. He's a cool dude. He introduced me to a band called Cancer as well. Yeah. We've done them on the channel. Obituary, I discovered them through him. I mean, the list goes on and on. Actually, Merciful Fate, he was big into Merciful Fate. I remember he bought the entire discography that was available at the time, and that's how I discovered Merciful Fate. Not King Diamond, but Merciful Fate. Yeah. And I was like, because I already knew King Diamond, but Merciful Fate was before he went solo, right? So the funny thing was when he introduced me to Merciful Fate, it's like, King Diamond has a new band? He's like, no, you idiot! This was his band before. That's the solo shit. I was like, wow. So I discovered the other way around.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I discovered him on his solo stuff with Fatal Portrait, which was the first album, the song Halloween. That was the first song. So I discovered him with that, and then he introduced me to Merciful Fate after. So for me, I kind of went backwards a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he played a huge role, at least for me personally. He played a huge role in not in my taste, but in my exposure to metal and other forms of metal from what I was in my niche. So shout out to Claudio. All right. Anything else you want to add?
No, we're done here.
I think we're done because I know this is not your cup of tea.
It's not my cup of tea. Yeah.
All right, but I like it. I like the vocals in the distance. It feels so grimy. with the constant changes, drums, fuck. Anyways, all right, guys, thank you for watching this video. Let us know your thoughts on Morbid Angel. Where do they rank for you? Use the comment section. And by the way, has anybody seen I Am Morbid? Because I've never seen them live. So if you guys have seen them live or you're planning on going to see them live, hit us up in the comment section as well. I would love to see those guys more so because, like I said, Bill Hudson on guitars. I want to hang out with my dude. I want to hang out with my Receba. He's Brazilian, so I'm going to hang out with him. All right, guys, on that note, we'll see you in the next video. Take care.
See ya.